So guys, so this is episode 5, and part 2 of H.H. Holmes' case. So I have decided that episode 6 will be the third and final part of H.H. Holmes. Now, I was thinking that obviously down the line when I finish basically all of the people that I made in my fictional horror series, slasher killers and all that stuff, go through those and then go through most of the killers in the United States, maybe some from Canada, Mexico, something like that. I will do like a case study on previous case that maybe like more information and stuff like that. I don't know yet, but yeah, so this is part 2, and today I'm going to talk about the first murders, and then that is all I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to talk about the first murders and then go to his capture and arrest, and that is it. So first murder. So if you didn't watch part 1, which would be episode 4, I talked about the Murder Castle, which was the nickname that people called the building that H.H. Holmes bought and ordered people to build. Basically, there was 3 floors, but only 2 of the floors were complete. The second floor was more of like apartment rooms and stuff like that. The first floor would be like stores, like a drugstore or something like that. But there was a third floor that was going to be like more apartment rooms. But these rooms, which he didn't really pay for, he would take supplies and all that stuff, and basically there would be these passageways that led to nowhere. There would be these chutes that would go all the way down to the basement that had acid, lime, and like surgical like tools and stuff like that. And those would lead to where he would kill his victims. And basically that's why people like me say that he solely built that place to kill people, because he had a place that he was working at, which he did buy that store across the street, and he decided to make this place like his place of evil. But so let's begin. So after I say all this, I will give you guys a little peek of what I'm going to be getting into in the 7-part season finale, which will talk about The Man, which is the first horror series I ever made. And to me, he is a sympathetic character that I made because of what happened to him. So, yeah. So, first murders. One of Holmes' early murder victims was his mistress, Julia Smythe. She was the wife of Ned Connor, who had moved into Holmes' building and began working as his pharmacist's jewelry counter. After Connor found out about Smythe's affair with Holmes, he quit his job and moved away, leaving Smythe and her daughter Pearl behind. Smythe gained custody of Pearl and remained at the hotel, continuing her relationship with Holmes. Julia and Pearl disappeared on Christmas Eve of 1891, and Holmes later claimed she had died during an abortion, though that truly happened to the two was never confirmed. Another likely Holmes murder victim was Emmeline Zagrand. Began working in the building in May of 1892 and disappeared that December. Another woman who vanished, Edna Van Tassel, is also believed to have been among Holmes' victims. While working in the chemical bank building on Dearborn Street, Holmes met and became close friends with Benjamin Tezel, a carpenter with a criminal past who was exhibiting in the same building a coal bin who had invented. Holmes used Pitzel as his right-hand man for several criminal schemes. The district attorney later described Pitzel as, quote, Holmes' tool, his creature, end quote. In early 1893, a one-time actress named Minnie Williams moved to Chicago. Holmes claimed to have met her in an employment office, though there were rumors he had met her in Boston years earlier. He offered her a job at the hotel as his personal stenographer, and she accepted. Holmes persuaded Williams to transfer the deed to her property in Fort Worth, Texas, to a man named Alexander Bond, an alias of Holmes. In April of 1893, Williams transferred the deed, with Holmes serving as the notary. Holmes later signed the deed over to Pitzel, giving him the alias, quote, Benton T. Limit, end quote. The next month, Holmes and Williams, presenting themselves as man and wife, rented an apartment in Chicago's Lincoln Park. Minnie's sister, Annie, came to visit, and in July she wrote to her aunt that she planned to accompany, quote, Brother Harry, end quote, to Europe. Neither Minnie nor Annie were seen alive after July 5th, 1893. Holmes had an entrepreneurial spirit. Based on his former medical education and his connections, he was able to sell skeletons to medical labs and schools. Both he and sometimes a hired assistant were accused of stripping the flesh off of bodies, dissecting them, and preparing the viable skeletons. The rest of the remains would be tossed in pits of lime or acid, effectively breaking down the remaining evidence. And that is it. So next week's episode, which I'm going to be recording as soon as I'm done recording this, is going to be the capture and arrest, and that is it. After that, after that, I mean, I guess I could somehow, some way. No, there's just no way I can make this a 4-parter. Right after that, I will be talking about The Man, which is the first thing I ever created on YouTube, and the first horror thing I ever created, ever. And basically, The Man is my baby. That is, it has 21 movies now. It's midway through its 8th season. It's been viewed maybe 4 or 5 million times throughout its entire run since it first debuted in late March of 2017. I'll be going through the entire history through 7 parts. First part we'll talk about the very beginning, when first got married with his wife, and at the very end we'll talk about later what happened that night that made the man who he is. He didn't want to be a serial killer, but after what happened to her, he decided that he wanted to. So I'll be talking about that. After that, that'll be it for presumably 13 episodes instead of 10 episodes this season. So I'm going to start doing this where I record basically everything in one day and all that stuff, and then after that, probably like when Paranormal Adventures and Real Paranormal Stories comes out, I'll probably record all those in one day. Like Paranormal Adventures one day, and the Real Paranormal Stories the next day, and go from there. So that is it. So make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.